field lanes and stuff like that?
Well, I think at any point when you have a guy that can win against single coverage, right, it allows a quarterback some comfort too. You know, whether that's Smitty or whether that's AJ, right? You got two guys that can really beat press coverage and can win, and that's confidence in the quarterback. And now that allows other guys to be either, are they going to roll the coverage over there to help that single guy or not? And so that helps us, you know, and that's all part of the weekly scheme when you're during the season. But right now, you know, it's just fun, kind of just working against Slay, working against Bradberry, and then getting their feedback of, you know, kind of why'd you like this or why didn't you like that, and we kind of go back and forth with them in as many times as we can, just to kind of the iron sharpens iron kind of deal.
With Devin Allen, I mean, he's been away from the game so long. What have you seen from him? It's quite a challenge what he's trying to do. What kind of progress have you seen?
Yeah, Devin's doing a good job. You know, he's getting better every day, as you'd expect for a guy who hasn't really played. You know, in the spring he was here in and out with track, so you know, it was kind of a tough transition for him the first few days. And it's been nice seeing him just kind of gain his confidence back a little bit, and just excited to see what he can do, kind of moving in the preseason games. And you know, when you haven't played football in 5 years and all of a sudden you're trying to get into an NFL camp and go against guys who've been playing every day for the last 5 years, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be ebbs and flows with that. So just trying to get him comfortable with the system and trying to get him comfortable with everything that we're doing on a daily basis.
Zach Pascal had a strong day today. How has he fit in his first camp in Philadelphia?
Well, Zach's doing good. You know, he kind of got himself back a little bit with the stomach illness early on, and so it took him some time to get back, and then he had to kind of make sure he gets back in shape. And the worst thing you want to do with a guy like Zach is he misses those first 5 days or whatever, and then you rush him back in and he gets an injury, soft tissue or something like that. So we just kind of eased him back in, and as he's gotten more comfortable and with that yardage getting a little higher during practice, he's done a great job. But excited with where he's at. He fits right in with the group from a personality standpoint, a competitive standpoint. And then obviously the football stuff tends to take care of itself. You know, everybody's got their role, and that's kind of, as you're moving forward, going into the last week of the preseason, getting ready to play Detroit, those roles kind of start to iron out. And as we know, during the season they change based on a lot of different things. For players playing different positions, guys get injured, things like that. But Zach's doing a great job. Excited. He's here, excited that he's able to really start practicing full and make its plays.
What have you seen from Covey?
Covey's doing a great job. You know, as a young, undrafted guy, doing a great job for us. He's kind of working primarily in the slot, and you know, it's the same thing as Zach, just getting used to what we're doing, getting used to all the different whys and those things. But the guy's doing a great job. Excited to see him play this week, and you know, with him, like everybody else, it's one day at a time, and just continue to see where he progresses. You know, with Greg being out for the last week or so, he's been able to rep with the second team, and he's taking advantage of those reps, and that's a good thing for him.
What's he like in the meeting room? Like, what's his personality like?
He's kind of quiet. He's a smart guy. You know, he's mature. He's not like a rookie 22-year-old, 21-year-old guy. He's 25. So as you'd expect from a 25-year-old, he's got some maturity, and players love him. And you know, our room is pretty tight. We don't have any kind of outliers in our room. I think the guys really have done a great job of just kind of building as one, and that's the rooms I like to have. That's what I love in the meeting room, about engaging with the guys and trying to build it as one, and it's a professional environment in there, and we go in and we're going to get our work done in those meetings, but guys got to be able to show their personality in the meetings too, and that's the fun part about it.
You mentioned Slay. You mentioned Slay and Bradberry. How much do you guys embrace the challenge they're getting from, really from all the cornerbacks?
You have to. Those guys they played a lot of football. They made a lot of plays. And when you look at them and they're trying to give you a little bit of information, hey, I saw that he did this, or hey, I saw he did that, or hey, this is why I did this. We take that information and we reciprocate it. Hey, I saw you did this. This is why I did that. And that makes us all better. And when you look at certain things during the season, as the season goes on, it gets harder as the season goes on. We all know that. So you got to lean on each other. You got to continue to grasp the knowledge. You can't just stop in camp. And Slay's been unbelievable at that. Bradberry, as he's been here, has been unbelievable at that. And again, with AJ and Smitty and Quez and Dallas, and we all communicate these things, and it makes our team better. There are no secrets, and I love that about those guys.
How is AJ different than other receivers you've coached before?
Well, he's got a unique skill set. He's got speed, he's got size, he's got quickness. and he's got power, you know, and so there's a reason he's had the success he's had so far in his career, and that's a great thing, you know, for him, and we're glad to have him. Excited he's here. He's made plays a lot during this camp, and we're just going to continue to get him into what we're doing, continue to clean up fundamentals and things like that we want him to clean up on. But I still think that there's room to grow with AJ, and that's the most exciting thing about it. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to learn our offense and continue to learn the little details that we're asking him to do. And then once that happens, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. Him and Jalen have already a pretty good camaraderie off the field. They're building on the field still. You know, they haven't played together, so this has been a great thing for those guys. But he's doing a great job, and he's taking on a leadership role in the room as well, which I appreciate.
We know Dontrell Inman's here
Yep.
for an internship. As a former player yourself who transitioned to coaching, how much do you look forward to working with guys like that as they begin that transition?
I love it. You know, I love it. I know the challenges I had at post-career with certain things. You know, there's this stat that, you know, 80% of former players within 5 years of done playing are broke, divorced, depressed, or there's one other thing, you know, and so anything you can do to help guys avoid being in that, you do. And Dontrell's a smart guy. He's got on-field, off-field things going, but if he wants to get into coaching, I think he's got a great crew of guys, you know, with obviously myself, but he played for Shane, he played for Nick, played for Kevin Patullo. So these guys have been here to help, and really, I'm any former player that reaches out, you want to help, because it's not an easy transition when you're done playing. You're used to one certain level of, you know, kind of how things go on a daily basis from a structure standpoint into kind of nothing to do. And what are you going to do now? And how are you going to maintain the lifestyle that you want to maintain? Well, sometimes you got to take a couple years and not maintain that lifestyle. And that's probably the hardest thing for guys. So, you know, you just trying to give as much advice as you can from someone who's been through it. But Dontrell's awesome. He's been great. You know, and he's another set of eyes on the field and a guy that's been in this offense a long time. So it's great to have him.
What is the messaging from you?
Yeah, can you guys back up a little so we can move up?
What's the messaging from you to guys like, you know, Quiz or Zach, who, you know, are wide receivers? They want the ball, but they might only get, you know, a handful of targets in a game.
Yeah, I think that those guys, you know, you understand when you make plays, obviously it's going to be a big play for our team, but at the same when they're there for you, you got to make them. Right, and the more you make them, the more the ball comes to you, and it kind of goes back to kind of what we were talking about before. If they're going to double AJ, well, other guys are going to get single coverage. If they're going to try to put a double, you know, in the red zone on certain guys, Dallas, so other guys got to make plays. We have one-on-one. So when you get that coverage, you get that look. When you know we got the perfect play on, it's your route. We got to make the throw. We got to make the catch, and there's no in between on that. And that's kind of just the message. And then obviously during the season, if guys get hurt, it's next guy up mentality, where, you know, you got a guy that's out for a quarter because you know, something's going on. You got to go in there and you got to be ready to go, and you got to make the plays. And those guys are vets. They've been around. This isn't where Quez, who barely played his rookie year, he played all year last year. The mentality should be there. Zach's played a lot of football in this league and made a lot of plays in this league. So again, I think mentality-wise, they know what it is, and you know, you've got to keep your mental just as strong as your physical with that, because sometimes there's going to be games where you might only get 2 targets, but the next game you might get 6. So that's just the reality of it, and you know, it's a good problem to have. I'll say that.
How do you work through with Jalen? Obviously, difficult circumstances. Jalen Reagor, probably not where he wants to be. How did he come back? How do you handle it? You just talked about, you know, he's used to getting the ball 12 times at TCU. Maybe he only gets it a few times. How has he handled it, and how have you handled him?
Well, I think the big thing with Jalen is from 2 years ago to last year to now, mentally, he's in such a better space, you know, and I think just that transition, exactly what you talked about, of just having all those targets into maybe you only got a couple opportunities per game, and he had to get used to that adjustment. But you know what, like, every guy in this room has a responsibility to be a pro, and being a pro is knowing your role and understanding that role changes. Any given time, that role can change, and Jalen's come in. He's had a nice camp so far. He's made plays. He's done everything we've asked him to do, and he's just got to continue to challenge himself every day to be great on the field, off the field, and continue to take care of himself. And again, we haven't had no issues this year like with stuff that happened last year with, kind of came in out of shape. I mean, he came in as good a shape as anybody in the whole camp this year, and it showed by the way he's played. So just excited about the room. It just goes back to the depth we have in the room right now is great. And, we haven't had this depth in a while. So you have to appreciate that. I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you and say that I'm not happy about the depth we have in the room, because the season, things happen so fast and you never know when all of a sudden you're going to need that. And so I'm just excited about our group, excited about the way they played during camp, and then now looking forward to these preseason games and joint practices, just looking to see them get out there and compete against these other teams. And I think everybody would agree it's exciting to finally get to go against somebody in a different colored jersey.
Last one, please. When you look at the punt, I've seen you back there with some of the punt returners as well too, like give some tips. What do you think makes a better punt returner? Obviously, besides better athletic ability, but what makes you think makes a good punt returner? What do you see in these guys that get out there catching these returns?
Well, I think it's funny. The best guys I've ever coached are baseball players, outfielders. They track the ball really well, and if you can track the ball, and it's kind of like if you're trying to track it and see all the 11 guys running down the field, plus the guys who are blocking for you, it's really hard. You can track that ball, get to your spot, and get the catch, and have time to evaluate the field. That allows you to kind of see what's going on in front of you, and that 5-yard return turns into a 10, and 10 turns into a 20. And those guys that are able to track it the best are the guys that usually are kind of the ones that make the most plays back there. But number one job of punt returner is get the ball back to the other team. We know that's the most important thing, and it starts and ends with that, period.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Make sure he doesn't fall too far behind.
No, I think it's any young guy coming into a new system. When you're going to a new team as a rookie, you're doing everything you can really to learn the system, throughout the offseason. And the way we do it here, just, in OTAs, you get a chance to kind of learn it for the first time. It's throw a bunch of stuff on the wall, see what sticks, okay? And then as the offseason goes, we get a chance to get away from it. You spend time, meetings and stuff throughout the offseason, and you're trying to pick those things back up. He's done a great job to, missing some time of being able to take advantage of the meetings, seeing things on film. We're continuing, in meetings when you ask questions and all those things to make sure guys are on top of those things. He's done a good job of staying on top of that. You'd love to get the actual reps, and he's just got to take the mental reps now, and then when he gets that opportunity, okay, to take advantage of that.
Jason, it seems like Noah has taken advantage maybe of some guys being out to the naked eye. Have you kind of seen that with Noah?
Yeah, I think anytime you have, a nick, with a guy that has to sit out of practice, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, with every position group on the team of find guys that can step in. And the tight end position is unique. You're always trying to find guys that can do everything. But as we know, this position's evolved, maybe more than any other position in terms of specific things. And when you have a guy like Noah who is a very smart guy who understands the big picture, and when I say big picture, what's going on from a blocking scheme, whether you're at Y, whether you're at F, I've always said this as a tight end, you're playing running back, you're playing offensive line, you're playing receiver. So you've got to understand the big picture of what's going on, and he's done a good job of getting himself in the right position, and he's capitalized this offseason, just in terms of the way he's gone about things, the things you see on the field as well as, behind the scenes with his nutrition and his physical part. And when a guy goes down, he's stepped up and made some plays for sure.
Even after Zach left last year, you guys were one of the more efficient teams in the league in 12 personnel, and Jack didn't get a ton of targets. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think, what you do in 12 personnel sometimes is you're a little more likely to be able to dictate to the defense. When you're, certain personnel groupings, they don't know when you have guys like I was talking about just a second ago that can play multiple roles, can play the receiver or line up, in line, when we're going to run the football or protection. And you're always trying to find those advantages. And I just think, we've done a good job as an offense, of being able to take that grouping and be multiple with that, and take advantage of when defenses are going to play a certain way. It's not that we're stuck in a personnel grouping. We're always trying to find ways, whether it's 11, 12, 13, and all that. But that gives us a chance to find some holes in the defense.
With Dallas, is there another level to his game? Are there tangible ways that he can get even better?
I think everyone can. I think that's what every guy out here is trying to do, is to get better every day. With Dallas, you guys see what he does on the field and those things, but he's done a great job this offseason the little things to detail. Anytime you come in, we were talking about a rookie coming in for the first time. Well, this team last year was the first year in this system, and now that he's got a year under his belt, there's still things during that first year where it's new. You're doing things a little different maybe than you had done before, or maybe a different call. And I think having a year in the system now, he can truly capitalize on the finer details of what he's doing, and the amount of time that he spends mentally preparing, and the stuff he does on the side during walkthroughs, as many catches as he could get, in terms of catching the football, putting himself in all those situations. But he's done a good job of making strides every day and getting more comfortable physically and, in a leadership role, and that's part of getting older, being, the vet in the room of doing that. And he's done a good job with all of those things.
What about J.J.? It's a big challenge for him, new position, put on some weight. What have you seen from him? How's he taken to the new role?
It is, in that situation, it's a good question. When anytime you're doing something different, there's facets of the game that you're going to do the same, as a receiver or as a tight end when it comes to route running. And JJ was in some of those situations as a receiver, doing some of the blocking or the things on the edge in the past. So some of that was carryover. JJ's done a good job of, he's as hardworking of a guy as there is. He's worked his tail off physically, mentally, and he's making strides every day. Like anybody, there's going to be some mistakes that are made, and that's not just him, that's anyone. But you learn from those, and that's what JJ's continuing to do. Being in a situation that's different. It's a different transition. The blocking rules of, like I said before, the big picture of things. Before as a receiver, you may have a force block where you're blocking the corner or the safety. Well, now you've got is it a defensive end, or are you working a double team, and just that communication's different inside, and he's progressing each day.
Jason, when you have a true, prototypical X wide receiver who can take on contact and probably you'll get double teamed, how much does that help your unit kind of spread the ball around and get kind of open?
I think, good question. I think you want that as a team, right? As a whole offense, you're looking for, the players at different roles, like you said, as an X that's going to at times draw interest to open up other guys. And I think we have that. And that's what we're working towards, of having guys in the offense that are going to draw attention. And then that's where we've got to take advantage of singles when we get those situations. So I just think, just working as a unit, and putting this together as we're doing through the preseason, we're seeing those, matchups that we like to take advantage of.
A couple more. We're going to get Moorehead. How's your, obviously you have an OC background. How much has that kind of helped you guys as you plan as individual coaches together? And then as well as when you're trying to figure out how you want the tight ends to attack the offense?
Well, I think having a background in that as a quarterback guy as well, everything revolves around the quarterback. Okay, and if the guys know the why of what the play is, I think they have a better understanding of what their responsibility is. As little as, and I've always referred to it, whether it's a release on a route, whether it's a certain technique that you're doing, as a quarterback looking at you, if you do a certain thing, he may be off you quicker. So it may be something in terms of how to attack, how to release. But I think when you can give players the why, the big picture from a coordinator or from a quarterback's perspective, especially in the passing game, okay, it makes the picture more clear for them of what they have to do and what their responsibilities and details are.
What about Jack's receiving? What have you seen as far as progress from last year?
I think it's like every guy out here. I mean, I think just being another year into the system, he's taken advantage of his opportunities, in terms of being able to mix things. And, he's another guy that's worked hard this offseason of changing his body, getting stronger, more powerful, working on the route details of what he's done. And he's gonna take advantage of those opportunities like he's done. And, it's just shown, it's a credit to him. It's a credit to all these guys, what they've done this offseason, throughout the offseason program, how they've worked to get themselves in shape to get to this point going into the season.
You mentioned how the position has changed over the years, more specialized. What's that luxury have, Dallas, who can kind of do everything, and maybe if you have a better flex guy, you can play him in line. If you have the better in-line guy, you can flex him. Is that a luxury for you? Sure.
I mean, I think you're always trying to find guys that can play multiple roles and wear multiple hats. And when you have a guy like Dallas who's been able to play in line, spread out, and to be able to mix that with the other guys we have, you were asking the question about different personnel groupings have taken advantage of those things. By doing that and putting guys in different positions, you hope you keep defenses off guard to where, they don't know what it is of being able to do that. So I think anytime you're always looking for guys that can wear multiple hats and do multiple things, and Dallas is one of those guys in this league that can do that.
How benefit is it to get out there and actually see live football?
Oh yeah, I love going out there, getting my feet wet, seeing some live action, going against a different color. So I feel like it'll be a great benefit to us, and I'm looking forward to it.
When you look at film of practice, what do you see from Nakobe Dean, just in how he's progressing?
Oh, he has real good instincts. He's a hard worker, always in his book, always asking questions, trying to learn and get better each and every day. You can tell he comes from a great program in Georgia, and sky's the limit for him.
What has it been like being closer to home?
Oh, man, it's great. Go home all the time, see the fam. When I was in Cali, they couldn't really come to many games and, missing out on many holidays and stuff like that. So being back out here now, it's going to be great for sure.
How many people are going to be there Friday?
Friday? Oh, a lot. Even last week when we had the team scrimmage, it was about 30 people there. So every home game, man, every game that's close is going to be a whole lot of family and friends there for sure.
What's your comfort level now? You've been out here a couple weeks. How you feeling with everything?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely comfortable, man. I'm not where I want to be yet, but, day by day, I'm getting to where I want to be for sure.
How's the chemistry coming along with TJ, Davion? You guys sort of seem to mix and match. How do you think that chemistry on the field is coming along?
It's coming along, but, we still got ways to go. We only been with each other, since OTAs, so we still got a lot to build on and, keep growing with each other. But I definitely like where we at right now for sure.
Brendan Staley and Jonathan Gannon are both really young guys who seem like they can relate to players really well. When you have a guy who's young and has that type of energy and personality, how much does that help you guys with cohesion on defense?
Oh, it helps us a lot because, we just feed off of that. And, they're young guys, like you said, so I feel like they could really relate to us. So, yeah, man, it's great. It's great to have those guys for sure.
How many similarities between the schemes?
Oh, it's real similar, but there's some differences as well. Sometimes I'll be going back to the Chargers' defensive ways, and I got to get out of that sometimes because it's real similar, but it's also different.
What are some of the differences?
It's just little things, man. Terminology, some little things within the scheme. Nothing major, just little stuff.
We've seen you blitz a good amount during camp. Is it hard to get a sense of it when you can't actually hit the quarterback?
You got to be a professional, man. I know how to practice now, so I feel like I do a good job with blitzing and staying away from the quarterback.
With Jonathan's background as a DB's coach and your background obviously playing safety, has he kind of figured out ways to kind of take advantage of that background in your linebacker play?
Yeah, I think Coach Gannon puts us all in a position to be successful. It's not just what he can do for me, it's, what's going to help the team overall. So, whatever he wants us to do, we're just going to follow his lead.
What kind of luxury is it to have guys like you? You really have a bunch of guys that have gotten reps with the lawns who can play in the city, who are versatile. It gives you a lot of different looks, a lot of different options. What kind of luxury is to have that kind of depth?
It's great, man, because, we keep pushing each other. I feel like competition going to bring out the best in all of us. So I feel like with the room having as much depth as we have and as much competition each and every day, we know we can't be out here and be complacent. We got to come out here and work and put our best foot forward each and every day.
How's your first camp in Philly compared to the ones you had with the Chargers?
I think it's real similar. It's real similar. They take care of us, got a great group of guys, great group of coaches, and, I feel like it's real similar.
Thanks, Kyzir.
Just, put my head down, going to work. Not really worried about anything else, just focusing on myself.
How have Jeremy Davis and Dontrell Inman kind of helped you guys with an extra perspective along with Aaron?
Just being, being another source of, another veteran. You just learning every time you run a route, even though it could be good or something, they're just telling you how to do it better or more efficient.
Do guys buy into assistant coaches that have that NFL experience who have done it like you have?
I'm pretty sure they do because, I do, the guys in our room do. We use it as like another tool because you can never get enough knowledge.
Aaron said he thinks you're in a better place than you've ever been the last few years. What do you think he means by that?
Just, I'm here mentally now. Like, it's easy to be out here, but physically, that's a little part of the game. So being here mentally, I feel like that's what he's talking about.
What is that? Jalen, you've been through a lot,
right?
Especially off the field, with your friends and stuff. What tools do you use in terms of getting through things mentally? How do you sort of work through that stuff?
Just leaning on my friends, my family, especially my father, and just learning. It could always be worse. People go through worse things, and just knowing that through all that, I still get to come and do this as my job. So.
Was there sort of a low point throughout this offseason for you?
Absolutely. You know, I lost my best friend, so I mean, anybody. I mean, pretty sure you guys know. Like, if you lose somebody close to you, and then January 13th, I lost my grandmother. So that's who basically raised me. So, you know, you go through it. You got to go through it to get through it, though.
Fletcher lost his best friend in his rookie camp, and it took him a while to be able to sort of digest that and get through it. Where would you say you are in your process?
You know, I'm not all the way through it, but you know I have a job to do, and I know what he would want me to do. So, you know, I'm just continuing to tribute to him every day. Every day I touch the field, give it to him and God, and do the best that I can.
Who has helped you the most?
My father.
What sort of counseling has he been able to give you?
Not necessarily counseling, just, you know, he's just a big motivator because he's been here. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going through it together because he, you know, I lost my grandmother, he lost his mom, so we go through it together.
Do you feel like this may be the best shape you've been in coming into the camp?
Yeah, probably the best shape I've been in since I left school, so I feel good.
Do you feel like this has been your best camp?
I mean, I leave that up to y'all and the coaches. I'm just coming out here doing what I'm asked.
Can you take us through the out route play? What did you see on that, and why was it so successful?
I mean, it's literally one of those things that the coach's game plan, and if Slay would have played off, you kind of you have a certain conversion, but he played off. You know, I came off full speed, and great throw by Jalen, and I just my job to make the quarterback look good.
This is the first time in your career. I mean, you're fighting for reps, you're fighting for starting spot, you're fighting for roster. I mean, everything. How different is that? How challenging? Humbling? How would you describe it?
I mean, me personally, I love a good challenge. So it's a humbling experience because you go from being a first rounder to you battling. So I mean, but I like challenges though.
One of the anecdotes that Nick uses a lot is that he's told you, where maybe at TCU you'd be getting 11 looks in a game. Now you have to get accustomed to 3.
Right.
So how has that sort of process been for you in transition? Has that been kind of a main thing that you've been fighting against, I guess?
Not fighting against it. I'm just gonna make them 3 damn good 3.
And when you look at the wide receiver room as a whole, I mean, obviously Devontae's second year, they added AJ and everything. How does it make all you guys better? I mean, do you kind of notice that as well with yourself?
Just we got a hell of a room. So like you said, it's competition in there. Obviously people have their jobs, some people don't, and some people fighting. So you just got to come in, and when people go down, you step up. When people up, you just make sure you be ready when it's your time.
From an on-field standpoint, how has Jalen Hurts grown?
I feel like he's taking more control. Like he's comfortable. You see he's relaxed back there, and I mean even through ups and downs, he still keeps that same like mindset. And I feel like that's a great thing, especially him being a leader and being the head of the offense.
Jalen, you've talked before about kind of blocking out the noise on social media. I guess where are you at with that now?
Just try not to worry about it. I mean everything ain't gonna be what I want it to be, but it is what it is. Everybody got a job to do.
Is your confidence higher than it's been since you've been here?
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't worry about nothing because whether I do something good or bad, it's it's up and down. It don't matter. Because I mean, ultimately on Sunday I wear the jersey.
Aaron had mentioned that you're in the best shape that you've been in since you've been here. Last year wasn't that case coming in. How do you reflect on that? Kind of where you were at that spot versus now.
I would say with last year me dealing with a lot, so I just kind of I wasn't really just focused on my training, but this year that was even dealing with a lot. It just motivated me more, especially that was my best. That's who I trained with, so it just made me go even harder. And then I just didn't worry about anything else.
How do you keep Greg's memory sort of with you?
Who? Jeff?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I mean, just that's my college teammate. So we've been best friends. We do everything together. We bought our first car together. House together, everything. So you just kind of. I mean, I just always remember he next to me. You know what I'm saying? So.
Are you doing anything special for the season?
I'm trying to see if they'll let me, wear a patch or some on my helmet decal. But if not, I'm gonna tribute in my own way.
You've been through a lot here. Is this still where you want to be? You still want to be an Eagle? Do you think that's best for you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be here for the rest of my career. But I mean, it's a business. It's a business of production. So, I'm gonna handle my end. I'm gonna let them handle theirs.